Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Friday. So we're going to start off as we have been singing the divine word of the day. Then we're going to talk a little bit about that and go deep. We're going to dive deep into this experience. So let me go ahead and bring this up onto the screen so we can all see it. All right. Well, you're gonna laugh at this because these are all so new. If I don't sing them a lot in the morning, I forget, but I always record it onto my phone so I can make sure I get it. So hold on. Okay, got it. I just need the beginning. So I walk in peace and faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. Here we go. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner guide to guide me, my inner light rather. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. Sing that with me. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner guide to guide me. They seem to be stuck on the guide part. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. There we go. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. When I keep my thoughts centered on God, peace encircles my heart, and blissful charity permeates my mind as I live my life from this peaceful place. The guidance within becomes so strong, and I know it won't take long for the peace of God to come. Okay, let's walk together. Here we go. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. Oh yeah. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. One more time. I walk in peace and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. To guide me. I walk in peace and faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. When I keep my thoughts centered on God, deep peace encircles my heart, and blissful clarity permeates my mind. As I live my life from this place, my trust in my ability to discern my inner guidance becomes increasingly strong. My trust in my ability to discern my inner guidance becomes increasingly strong. I'm no longer swayed off course by the unpredictability of an ever-changing world, because I have placed my trust in the constant and enduring reality of God that is alive in me. I trust my intuition and inner knowing to lead me to places, people, and situations that will help me grow, realize my potential, or be of service. I trust my good intentions and actions to create the positive energy necessary to bring forth fulfilling outcomes. And from the book of Psalms, let me hear of your steadfast love in the morning, for in you I put my trust. Teach me the way I should go, for to you I lift up my soul. Let's sing that chorus one more time. I walk in peace, and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. Trust it now. I walk in faith, peace, and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. I walk in peace, and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. Put all your trust now. I walk in peace, and I walk in faith as I trust my inner light to guide me. To guide me. So today is all about guidance. The guidance that helps us to realize that everything that we're seeking, every shift, every opportunity, every experience is all in my mind. It's not out there. It's not in my body. It's in the choices that I make in my mind, and I can choose again at any moment. I can choose to trust the inner guidance and listen deeply as it becomes increasingly stronger, because the more attention we give to that inner guidance, the more importance we give to it, the stronger it becomes. I want to tell you a story that I think illustrates this. I'm wondering how many of you have listened to or enjoy a podcast called This American Life. You ever listen to that? I love that show. It's great. And I was listening to an episode yesterday, and it was about a young woman who, when she was in 8th grade, she decided that more than anything, she wanted to be the mascot of her high school's football team, which was a tiger. Now, she wasn't even in high school yet. She was still in 8th grade. So she would go around wearing this tiger uniform or outfit that she had put together herself. And she would never take it off, and she would drive her parents crazy with it. And she really wanted to go to the football game because her brother was on the team, and she really wanted to wear her tiger outfit. And her parents told her, no, she can't, because they thought they would embarrass her or them. And hold on, someone's not muted here. Let me mute everybody. Just much easier. Okay. So she was wearing her, she was told that she couldn't wear her uniform. And so she went anyway. She snuck onto the field during the halftime, and she started running all over the field as this mascot, sliding around, doing spins, doing cartwheels, doing flips, doing all these amazing things. And the crowd went crazy. They loved her. And so she immediately, even as an 8th grader, got the job. And she became kind of a legend in that area. because she was just so animated and so great. She would put all of the other mascots to shame with all the different antics that she would do and the all the acrobatics that she would do. But when she would take the mascot costume off, she was this shy little nerdy girl that wouldn't talk to anyone and didn't believe she could do anything. For example, when she did not have the costume on, she absolutely could not do a cartwheel. And the interviewer on This American Life is saying, do a cartwheel right now. You know you can do it. Because she said, no, but that's when I'm the tiger. It's a different identity. I can't do it as me. Well, just try. And she would try and she just couldn't do it. And then she said, well, go ahead and put the costume on and be the tiger. And as soon as she would put the costume on, she'd become a different person, and she would spin and do the cartwheel and flip. And she's a little bit overweight, this nerdy little girl that couldn't do anything without wearing the costume or the identity. I thought that was so fascinating. And it not only showed me, and I think all of us, that it really is all in the mind, because she could do it all along. But she had convinced herself that when it was just her, without the tiger, she couldn't do anything. She was incapable of talking to people. But when she'd put that costume on, she was this amazing woman doing all these antics and acrobatics, and everyone loved her. Seemingly two different people, depending upon which costume she was wearing. And obviously, the costume or the identity of being the nerdy girl that didn't want to do anything was just as much of a costume as the tiger was. It's just that they had different minds. In the mind of this girl that was just an eighth grader, she was shy and just could not connect. But as the tiger, so much more. So I'm wondering, if we begin by looking at our own identity, who we think we are, whether we're that nerdy person who doesn't relate very well to other people, or whether we're the strong intellectual, or whatever it is, whatever that identity or how we define ourselves, to begin by looking at that. What is that all about? Who do I say that I am? It's like that question that Jesus asked his apostles. Who do they say that I am? And one of them said, well, some people say that you're Elijah or even Elias, come back. In other words, the reincarnation of those two. So the Jews at that time did have a pretty solid belief in reincarnation. But then Jesus said, but who do you say that I am? And Peter said, you are the Christ. You are the anointed one. You are the Messiah. So when we ask that question of ourselves, who do I say that I am? Which am I going to claim? Am I going to claim that identity? In my case, the peace troubadour, the musician, the Franciscan. I mean, I have so many costumes that I could wear, so many identities, things that I do, ways that I define myself. Or can I put on the costume of the Christ? And when I put on the costume of the Christ, or the identity of the Christ, I can do things that I could never dream of doing when I'm just wearing this costume, the costume of the person or the separate entity, the ego. Just like that girl who couldn't do anything, couldn't talk to people, couldn't even do a cartwheel when she was just being her normal self. But she'd put on the tiger outfit and she could do everything. So the question is, when we put on the identity of Christ, is it the same? Can we do all of those things that we can't normally do? Can we live in a way that we would normally not be able to live because we have identified ourselves in a new, bright, whole manner, a way that lifts us above all of those other definitions and aligns us with how we are seen and loved by God? It's an interesting question. And it may be something for us to experiment with. What would it mean for you to put on that costume? What would it look like? What would it feel like? Obviously, we're not talking about going out and buying a big, sort of Middle Eastern robe or something to put over your head like they would have in Palestine 2,000 years ago. We're not talking about a physical costume like the tiger costume. We're talking about a way of being, a way of thinking, or of realizing who we really are. So the question comes up, how would the Christ act? Maybe we can begin there. If the Christ, and I don't mean Jesus, clearly Jesus is the Christ, but as we always say, and as Richard Rohr says, Christ is not the last name of Jesus. You're called to be the Christ just as much as Jesus was. That's not his last name. Jesus Christ. Unless you claim it too. Bethel Christ, Ravi Christ. Maybe we begin there. Maybe we begin by realizing that's our last name. And what does the last name do? It aligns us and reminds us of who our Father is, who our parents are. This is our family. We are of the Christ family. So maybe thinking of that as our last name, or that which binds us with our whole family, is where we begin. But then we ask the question, well, how would the Christ act? If the Christ were here, let's just say Jesus. If Jesus were here, and Jesus was walking around Ahihik or wherever you guys are, if he just found himself in this modern society, how would Jesus act? What would he say? What would he do? And then once we have a feel for that, maybe we could do the same. Maybe Jesus would look at everyone that he sees and offer a silent blessing and love them no matter what. Maybe he would find himself gravitating toward the poor or to the people that would usually be pushed away. Maybe it would be people that others think are terrible, the prostitutes, the drug addicts, the alcoholics. Maybe these are the people that Jesus would be moved toward, to love. He once said that a doctor doesn't go to the well people. A doctor spends his or her time with the people who are sick. When they question him, why are you always hanging out with the tax collectors and the prostitutes? It's not right for someone of your stature to be seen with such people. A doctor doesn't go to those who are well. A doctor goes to the ones who need the doctor. We go to those who need love, which is just another way of saying we are moving toward those who need the Christ. Because that's all the Christ is, love itself. So just like that young girl putting on that tiger outfit, why don't we experiment with this? Put on the costume or the identity of the Christ and see how that changes you. Just ask yourself that question. You know, those little bracelets that people used to wear, WWJD, what would Jesus do? I have one upstairs, it's WWVD, which is what would Vicky do? And that's why I'm going to turn to Vicky now. Vicky, tell us what you would do. Oh, maybe Vicky's not here. Sometimes she sends me a text saying that. All right, well, Vicky's not here. Vicky, how about Teddy? Are you here, Teddy? Okay, they must still be with their family. But we can still ask the question, what would Vicky do? What would Vicky say? I'll tell you what she would say. I'm going to imitate Vicky now. All you have to do is keep it simple. All you need to do is love people. That's it. Just no matter what happens, No matter what they say, no matter what they do, just keep your heart open. Yeah, that was my Boston accent. Keep your heart open and love everyone. Thank you, Vicki. That was a beautiful message. Now I'll imitate Teddy. I don't know. I mean, I listen to what you say, and to me, it's just Jesus says in the Course. Only love, only love is real. So I'm just going to leave it there because I don't know what else to say. So. Oh, wait till they watch this recording. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, I tell you what, let me see. Is Alice here? Alice, are you here this morning? I don't see Alice either. Okay, well, let's just open it up. Who would like to share? Who would like to answer that question? What would happen if you put on the identity of the Christ today? Anyone want to share? Anyone here or?
I'd go see the Republicans.
Bethel would go and visit and love Republican, not only Republicans, because you don't want to throw them all in the same pot, but the really Trumpian, the Trumpian. We would love them. Share our love. Anybody else? What would you do? How would you live this today? I know someone's got something to share.
James?
Yes. Come on up, Christine.
I know.
Okay, Christine is coming up. Let me put it here. Just watch the cord and you're all good.
Thanks. I don't know if this goes with the theme, but I was with my dad and he was in hospice. It was towards the end of his life. And he had to be Hoyer lift. I had to feed him. Anyway, he was in bed and this nurse put a sheet over him and he was in front of me. She was walking across and he was waving his arm under the sheet. And I said, "What do you want?" And the nurse said, "I'm trying to get the trash," but I didn't hear. I was focusing on my dad. And he kept doing his sheet. And I said, "What do you want?" And she said, "I'm trying to get the trash." I said, "Oh, honey, I'm not talking to you. I was talking to my dad." And so I'll cry. I know. Anyway, so she goes to his sheet and she pulls it back and he holds her hand and he kisses it and he just gives her unconditional love. And I said, he calls you his superstar. And he always says that this nurse was his superstar. Well, this is not the sad part of the story. The sad part of the story is this beautiful African woman that takes care of people thought I was talking to her. And that unconditional love is, "What do you want?" And I thought this beautiful woman is taking care of our loved ones and that she is treated this way. And that's the sad part of the story, is that she is this beautiful superstar to my dad and gave him unconditional love. And that we should all respect, no matter what our color, what our faith is, unconditional love. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. I think what you brought up, Christine, is another part of this discussion or realization, which is that basically, in asking the question, what would the Christ do or what would the Christ see? And the answer is the Christ. What would love see? Love. Doesn't matter what the color, what the political party, the sex, the sexual identity, none of that matters. None of that matters, because those are other costumes that we use to cover the Christ or the light. And it really comes down to, am I willing to love no matter what? We say that almost every day, but can we get any more simple or any more clear? To love no matter what. No matter what is happening, no matter what it looks like, no matter what that person is saying to us. That person could be screaming at us, could be throwing racial slurs at us, could be calling us crazy liberals and all Democrats should die. None of that matters. To love no matter what. Can I hold that space, that solid place of love, even in the midst of an attack? And once again, we have the example of Jesus in this, that Jesus would, hold on, if you guys could unmute until I call on you, because it's creating interference. Okay. George, I'm going to mute you until I call on you. So yeah, just keep yourself unmuted until keep yourself muted until I call. Okay. Once again, Jesus is being tortured and crucified, and he looks down. What does he say? Anybody know?
Father,
Forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. Even in the midst of such attack, he doesn't look down and say, screw these people. What did I come here for? This is where my light and love gets me, up on a cross. No, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. So here we are, no matter what, we hold that space of love. Okay, so I'm going to go to Judy. Go right ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. When I live with the Christ mind of overlooking, and only seeing love, I'm at peace and I'm settled in myself. If I choose the ego and judging, blah, 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 I'm really quickly now resetting after all these decades of A Course in Miracles to love no matter what. And it has turned out to be the most useful tool for my friends and husband and I. Just let the love that is there be there, and nothing else matters. Doesn't mean I don't trip up, but I no longer try to figure things out or try to make things right. And that is the blessing for me in seeing the Christ in everyone, is I have trust and it unfolds. And I don't yet have Vicky's great delight in each day and what it's going to bring me, but I'm beginning to, and this I enjoy, our joining and our conversation about the Christ in all of us. It's precious and tender to me, and I bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, dear one. That was beautiful. Yes, Leslie. You have to unmute yourself, dear.
Many years ago, my father called on Christmas Day after he had spent time in the hospital, and he apologized for something that had happened 30 years before. And we had been on the outs most of my life. So when he apologized for that, I felt everything go away. Everything that had ever happened between us, it was just cleared. And then he said, I have realized that love is the most important thing. It was the best gift I ever received. And it was such a beautiful thing. And I was really happy for him that he wasn't bringing with him to the other side all of the crap that I knew he had accumulated. And for the next couple of years before he did pass, he was a different person. I don't know if he had a near-death experience when he was in the hospital, but it doesn't matter. He got it. It was so beautiful. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, those exchanges are so precious. I had a similar one with my father on Father's Day, so I understand. And I think, George, you wanted to share something. George, are you muted? Now you can unmute.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to share a shamanic blessing that was sent to me yesterday to answer this question.
George, we can't hear you. You sound...
I released my partner from the obligation to complete me. I released my parents from feeling they failed me. I release my children from the need to bring me pride so they can write their own paths to the rhythm of their hearts. I don't lack anything. I cherish my essence, my way of expression. Even if no one understands me, I learn from everyone all the time, and I honor the divinity in you and myself.
Thank you.
Did you get that?
You sounded like Mickey Mouse the entire time. Your camera is all over the place. But I think we got most of it, so thank you. I think maybe investing in a new camera and microphone may be in order. All right, well, let's just take a deep breath now. Let's just settle in for a moment. In that reality that we call love. Just another word for God. Just another word for the Christ. But a deep, whole, overwhelming reality. Overwhelming every idea, every identity that we have claimed that is not in alignment with our true source. And we let them all go today so that the only true identity that we have, that we are, can step forward, that we may put upon us the mantle of the Christ, the costume of the Christ. And today we choose to experiment with that, to just see what that feels like. What would the Christ do? How would the Christ act in this situation? And the thing about pretending to be something that you already are is that in the pretending, you awaken the experience. Once again, when you pretend to be something that you already are, the experience is awakened within you because it is who you are. So it's natural and easy and gentle and profound. So today we allow that experience to open. And so it is. And also at this time, I'm just going to ask you, everyone, to think of one thing that you can lay on the altar. We're not going to share them today, but I just want you to think of one thing. Maybe it's someone that you're praying for. Maybe it's a situation in your life. Maybe it's something that you want to be the source of blessing or forgiveness in. Just allow one thing to come into your mind. And together, we lay that one thing upon the altar. And we know that our prayers have been answered. And when we, as one voice, lay all of these prayers, all of these petitions upon the altar, we have confidence that the radiating power of this love is enough. It's all that we need. And so it is. And so it is. Well, thank you, everyone. We're going to go ahead and share our unity prayer of protection as we do every day now. So as we launch into our weekend, I hope you can join us at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. But until then, let's light this fire and put at least several pieces of wood on it so it can burn bright. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.